What's up, everybody? How are we doing? It's pouring outside. Crazy, crazy, crazy weather here.
It has been super weird.
It has been weird,
Yeah.
very weird. All right, everybody. Kay, how are you? Everybody say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. And let's see, sound is good. Thank you, Kayla, I'm assuming. Hello, Beth. Beth, I'm gonna run to Lowe's and then I'll be home. I just told her that. We have a toilet fiasco on a bathroom we're remodeling. We're probably 2/3 done. I can hear the rain. It's crazy rain right here. Sandy, how are you? All right, all right. Everybody, let us know where you're watching from. Today's everybody's favorite topic is water chemistry, and I realize as weird as that is, because not everyone agrees on how to do it best. It's so it's a weird subject anyway. Cindy in Ohio. All right. And Sandy, you're in South Carolina, right? South Carolina, I think. That's awesome. We got 16 people. Mary, you want to get us started? Oh boy. Ooh. Look at this one. He doesn't care about the rain or the thunder at all.
He makes me
Myrtle
so
Beach.
nervous when he does that.
You're going to get your head stuck in there.
You are going to get your head
All right,
stuck.
Wisconsin. Dan, how are you? 20 people. All right, Mayor, come on up. What are we talking about?
Take your head out of it.
Just leave him. He'll learn his lesson the hard way.
All right, so we are going to talk about summer maintenance now that summer is just about here. Warmer weather, vacations, all of that fun stuff. Parties.
Well, don't get ahead in the parties.
No, I know. So we get a lot of questions about what to do when it's summertime, because it's warmer typically depending on where you are, and you know, maybe people go away for a week and what to do with their swim spa or hot tub. How do you take care of it? Do you lower the temperature? Blah blah blah. So today we're going to address some of those things. We're going to answer some questions that came ahead of time, and we'll also answer any questions that you guys post on here. So one of the things about the summer, depending on where you are, but typically in the summertime in the US, it's a little bit warmer. And so a lot of times people are going to keep their temperature down in the swim spa or in the hot tub. And that's actually really great because it's going to be less evaporation and a little bit less chemical. You might find that you're not having to use as much chlorine as you would during the winter time in the warmer water. So that's one thing. You can, not that we really suggest treating it any differently, because if you're doing it and it's working, just keep doing it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you may notice that the chlorine isn't dissipating as fast.
We got a question.
Go ahead.
Dale, just got my Trainer 15D delivered, got no manual. Go open up your iPad or whatever, and then I would use an iPad. Just do a search for MasterSpas Trainer 15D owner's manual, and you'll have different years that come up, and you definitely want the latest one because, you know, in the last couple of years we've switched over from Balboa to Gecko.
On the home page of
Right,
MasterSpas.com,
absolutely.
there's ideas and support, and there's a...
Now, personally, I would not print it out. I would leave it saved in files on an iPad as like a PDF.
It is like over 100 pages.
Because it is a lot to it and unnecessary to print out. Okay? Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. So another thing to keep in mind during the summertime is when you go away on vacation, if you do that, there is no need to drain your hot tub or swim spa. Ben, you want to say what you recommend? I feel like you know much better than I. What to do.
Because she makes me do all of it. Okay, so what I like to do, if it's just a week, you barely have to do anything. Shh. No crying. So if it's just going to be a week, it's really easy. So on a week, I'll just clean the filters, and then make sure the water is good. I'll check. I'll dip a test strip from time to time, maybe maybe I won't, and then I'll just hit it with some chlorine, hit it good, and bring it up past the 5 ppm parts per million, go to like 5 to 8, and then go, and it'll come back and it'll be fine. It doesn't matter whether you have a circ pump or whether you're running filter cycles. If you want to, you can bring the filter cycles up a little bit. Marty, we just ordered a TS240. We'll receive it in a few weeks.
Oh,
awesome tub.
Such an awesome tub.
Awesome hot tub.
You're going to love it.
You know, the TS240, it's small. It's only 205 gallons. 210, 25, 20, doesn't matter. 205 gallons. Think Porsche 911. They're not big either, but they are an amazing drive. That is a TS240, Porsche 911. Congratulations. You will freaking love it. So summertime. Actually, I have a story with what happened to me this week.
Yeah.
So Beth and I are in the middle of remodeling our master bath. And it's been 2 months of just upheaval, and we're busy. Our schedules are crazy. So on Monday, I opened up the swim spot. It's fairly new water. It's probably like a month old, I think. And I let me shock this. Let me hit it with some oxidizer hard. I'll leave the covers open for a long time. Just let it oxidize everything into the air. So I hit it pretty hard. And then we were busy. We were working, and then closed it. And I'm like, the next morning, I'll hit it with some chlorine, bring it up. I forgot. So I totally forgot. So I basically like just stripped everything out of there. And then I didn't check it for another day. And it was clear, but it was green. So you could definitely see it. It was almost like you had high copper content, like that, you know, when it's clear and very, very green, but very clear. That's when you have high copper content and it reacts with the chlorine. If it's brown like iced tea, that's iron. So that's what it looked like. So I'm like, oh God, I forgot. So I'm like, that's when I'll use the test strips. I don't ever use the test strips unless something's wrong. Well, something was wrong. Completely my fault. So test strip, alkalinity and pH are down in the toilet. And actually that reminds me to talk about geographic location. So I'm like, okay, so we hit the alkalinity up and hit it pretty hard. Didn't come up enough. Hit it pretty hard again. Finally it started to move, hit it again. It was really bottomed out. This was in the matter of 48 hours. And I know what I'm doing. I forgot. You know, life happens, you guys. So finally I got the pH alkalinity in line after like the third hit, and I've got the cover open and I'm running the jets, you know, 20 minutes checking, you guys know. And then finally I got, you know, in line, and we just hit it with some chlorine initially. It didn't register. It ate the chlorine up, spit it out. But now then after getting all that right, now the chlorine went right to, you know, it was higher than 5. It was probably, you know, 6, 7, 8 parts per million. Now this morning I popped it open, peeked at it, water's crystal blue, perfect. So it just goes back to show when there's something wrong, hit with the test strips, alkalinity first, always adjust alkalinity first, and then a pH, and then chlorinate, okay? And you want that chlorine, you know, 1 to 3 parts per million, 2 to 3. I think I like 2 to 3. 1 is you're riding such a fine line of not having very much in there that it can go south and that water can flip easily. But the secondary point here is that every geographic location has different water. And when you're on this Facebook group that we've got in particular, there's a ton of people who actually are experts, and there's a ton of people who think they're experts and that like to share what works for them as if it was gospel, but they live in wherever, and that's not the same water. So it will be different things, different consistencies, different things that happen all the time with that geographic location. So you just want to be mindful of that when you're issuing advice. It needs to be more generic because you only know your water. You know, the only people that know multiple waters are people that have experience elsewhere. Okay, like we know, you know, we have a lot of experience in New Jersey, northern New Jersey in particular, have the most copper I've ever seen anywhere. Okay, so just crazy. But I've got a couple questions here. I'm gonna roll back. Taylor test kit versus test strips. Which do you prefer? Brand ? So I have never felt the need to buy one of those test kits. I know that they're very nice. I know that they're very accurate. So if you want to do that and go to that level, you are absolutely, it's a great idea to do that. You will be accurate as all get out. I didn't swear. I came up with an emphasis without swearing. That's unique for me. So that's great. And then I just use the test strips. What kind did we get?
Well, these are just ones that were in.
I know, but what's the
Aqua check the 7.
Mary believes that the aqua checks are the baller test strips.
I don't. That was what was recommended from a recommended service tech.
From a tech. Those were his favorite.
Trustworthy.
So they're great. I don't even know which ones I have. Obviously, you can see from me not even knowing which ones we use.
I think the ones that we have here are like leisure time.
But I think I have the aqua checks at my house, actually.
Yeah.
So they're great. They're fine. So if you want to use the Taylor test kit, absolutely do it. Personally, I will never do anything more than I have to, and the test strips have always been fine. Typically, it's not a test strip problem. It's we don't have enough chlorine or oxidizer problem. So do what you like. Do what makes you comfortable. People sort of freak out about this stuff. It's not that hard, guys. And on a hot tub, if it gets flipped and it's crazy, don't put $25 worth of chemicals in there. Dump it. Refill it. Who cares? Life's too short. I'm not worrying about that. Okay? So life happens. I have a 1-month-old water in a swim spa that I paid and had to deliver it. I almost ruined it because I was busy. That's life, guys. So let's see. All right, what's next? We got our swim spa and filled it that evening. I have used 1.5 containers of pH minus, and my alkalinity is still, I don't know, still high. Do I just keep adding more and more? Yeah, yep. Keep adding it till it's in range. Absolutely. Alkalinity first, then pH, and
then chlorine.
yeah, address alkalinity first, then pH, then chlorine. All right. Will it be harder to maintain the levels in a smaller tub, Marty? No, not at all. In fact, it's like you're using minuscule amounts on that 240. Thing is so cute. It's adorable. Now it's easy. It's easy. You won't care. You won't. 240. That's an awesome tub.
Yeah,
it's easy in every way. It's 205 gallons. If something gets messed up, you just drain it and refill. It's 200 gallons. You know, this thing that we're in here is 1,900. You know, man, you're gonna love that. I'm so psyched for you. Let's see. I did that with my hot tub. Shocked it too much. Higher percent in active ingredients. Wow, pH and alk gone. Easy fix. Let's see. Yeah, you know, and every situation is different. You know, I don't measure the CYA. I don't go to the pool store with it. People get crazy with it. I just dump it and refill it before I get all that. Is there a safety sump pump built in to the H2X, as in if flooded from rain getting in the cabinet? No built-in sump pump of any kind. If flooded from rain getting in the cabinet, are you like in a vault? Because it won't go in if it's on flat ground. It will never. Water will always take the path of least resistance, and I've never seen that one. So I'm wondering if you're talking about inside a vault that maybe doesn't have great drainage for, because if that's the case, you need to address that, because that will be a problem. Let's see. Rachel, can't wait to see you both. Can't wait to come.
Oh, we're totally excited.
All right. Okay, so now, salt.
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of questions about...
Get up front, get in there.
We've been getting a lot of questions about saltwater systems and using salt in swim spas or hot tubs. And MasterSpas' official recommendation is no. And so I like to tell people, we know what salt does, especially here in the Northeast. We have salt on our cars and it ruins our cars, and at the beach it ruins your doorknobs and your fixtures and it is
bicycles that are parked next to your house, everything.
It is not any different in a hot tub or a swim spa, especially one where everything is self-contained. So a pool is very different. Salt is great in a pool. You are having typically much larger bodies of water, lower temperature, and your components like your pumps and filters and everything are separate. Where in a hot tub or a swim spa, everything is self-contained. So that water, that salt corrosive water, is constantly filtering or circulating through your piping and hitting your fixtures and your pumps and your components and corroding and corroding and corroding. And there are people from salt proponents who say, well, we use this type of metal in our spa, so it's not going to corrode. No,
It will.
It will. And it is very expensive to replace those parts. A couple of other things about salt, if you're considering salt because you think it's easier to maintain the water. We're getting lots of comments and questions. And a couple of other things to consider. If you read about salt in hot tubs, same for swim spas, it's actually much harder to maintain the balance of your chemicals with a salt system. And part of that is because the water is warm. So you have to remove all the calcium hardness, and that takes certain chemicals. And then you have to add additional chlorine to balance out the water. And in addition to all of that, salt generators use salt cells that need to be replaced several times per year, not even talking about the salt generator itself. So these cells are very expensive, and if you're having to replace them monthly or even quarterly, they aren't cheap. So you're having to replace them 3, 4, or 5 times a year, and you're having to pay for those salt cells. And then if anything goes wrong with your salt generator, those are extremely expensive, never covered under warranty, and they don't typically last very long. So there's a lot of extra cost to having a salt system, in addition to a lot of extra stress in terms of maintaining the balance of the water in salt systems. So again, we are not talking about pools. It's completely different in pools. We're talking about hot tubs and swim spas, specifically self-contained hot tubs and swim spas, which MasterSpas only sells. And one other thing to keep in mind is chlorine is not really that expensive. Neither is non-chlorine shock. So when you're comparing, it's a much less expensive endeavor than a salt system. And finally, MasterSpas will void your warranty if you add an aftermarket salt system to either your hot tub or your swim spa. So just some things to keep in mind. Salt systems should not be used. We do recommend chlorine and non-chlorine shock for keeping your hot tub water and your swim spa water nice and clean and clear. So we know we get a lot of flack for that, but there is a reason, and it does make sense if you think about what salt does. Salt is corrosive. But MasterSpas does use other minerals that are not corrosive, like copper and zinc, in our EcoPur filter system, so that when you are in your hot tub water or your swim spa water, it should feel nice on your skin, almost that same type of feeling if you were in a salt system. And as long as you're following the instructions that MasterSpas provides and how to take care of it, you're running very low to limited levels of chlorine, where in a salt system, you're always in chlorine, because a salt generator is turning that NaCl, sodium chloride, into chlorine. So you are always in chlorine in a salt system, and you end up having to add a lot extra to keep that balance. So we love our EcoPur.
Ultimately, in a pool, the salt simplifies things. In a hot tub, it doesn't. You're still watching certain levels. You're still watching something. So the benefit is just not the same as it is a pool. It's just not the same at that temperature.
Yeah.
You want to check some of those
Yeah, so
questions?
we've got some questions coming in. We also, just to really quickly talk, Barbara from Minnesota sent in a question before asking about the salt, along with a lot of other questions about salt. And she also asked if these are made for year-round use, even in Minnesota. 100%. They are insulated to the nines, and the standard cover is the most efficient cover you can get. So the claim to fame of MasterSpas, swim spas, and hot tubs is that they can be used all year round.
Without offense.
Okay, so that person says, thanks, but why is my dealer saying there is?
There is what?
Chris, I'm not sure what you mean. There is no sump pump in your swim spa or in your hot tub. There is a drain in your hot tub, but not in the swim spas or hot tubs. Thanks, guys. Have an appointment, so I have to go. Anytime you have any questions, Marty, let us know. Denise, we are in an H2X Challenger 15D. Any plans to come to Atlanta? Not that we know of, although we're never opposed to
A field trip.
field trip is right. I think we have some, this is Shireen. I think we have some type of bacteria breeding in our hot tub. We had a struggle with water chemistry when we couldn't get it to balance after the last empty. We were recommended to do a hot tub serum cleaning kit to clean the tubes out. I was then going to drain and clean jets and try to get as much water out of the system as possible. I've never heard of that. You do have several things that help with like bacteria, algae. I mean, ozone in and of itself. I don't know how old your unit is. Maybe you need to.
If it's been a while, I'm comfortable with a purge, with like a filter, not a filter, a jet cleaning purge type product. They make different things out there. What happened?
Okay.
Careful. Pressing all the buttons.
Okay, I think that's it. I think we got everything.
So when you do a purge, that cleans out the inside of the piping, which if, let's say you went to Africa for 6 months and someone take care of your tub didn't do anything and they grew a swamp in it, I would purge that. I would run some of that, but you fill the tub up and run the purge through everything, water fountains, everything. So it scrubs out the entire thing. So I wouldn't be afraid to do that if you think that, for sure. We got everything?
Yeah, I think we got everything.
Yeah, so I would, I don't know how to say that properly. Shireen? I would fill it, run one of those systems, and then you drain it again and get all the junk out of there. And it worked well if when you run that stuff through there, the water is disgusting, then you scrubbed the inside out properly, which is always nice. So.
One other thing to consider in the summer is your filter cleaning. So if you are using sunscreen when you're in the swim spa or your hot tub, you may need to rinse out your filters a little bit more often, and you may need to degrease your filters if you are using sunscreen.
You want to explain that degrease, because that you want me to?
Yeah, you should.
So when you use a filter cleaner where you soak them in a bucket, it's actually a degreaser, okay? And that's what you'll want to use if you've got it's not a bad idea to use it once in a while anyway. I don't typically use it all that often, but we're not putting sunscreen in there. But that stuff, it breaks down all those oils, body oils, lotions, soap, it breaks it all down and dissolves it. That's the point. So when we say a filter degreaser, that's the same thing as a filter cleaner like you get at your dealer. They've got a bottle of that. And if you've got the sunscreen in there, it's the only thing that will work to break that junk down. So in that case, if that does, like anytime there's a swim spot and it's out in the sun, if you've got kids in there, you have to wear sunscreen. You have to do these things properly, and then you'll want to keep 2 sets of filters. One is cleaned and dried. The only time you need to dry the filters is if you're storing them, okay, because they can get yucky. We have had that happen before when we just kind of tossed them in the corner, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, what the heck is that smell?
Yeah.
They'll get nasty. So you want to clean them and then dry them, and that's great. And then you use that filter degreaser, and it breaks all that junk down. It really gets in there, and then you want to spray them out properly. Okay, they make some little tools that'll help do a great job with that. So definitely do that. Okay, but when we say degreaser, that's what we mean. It's just a filter cleaner. All right. Sandy, is that where you see a bunch of foam coming out on the purge? Yeah, that's when you see the junk and filth. Yuck! It's gross. Yeah, it's gross. Chris, why would my H2X go completely dead? Have verified that correct power is getting to the cabinet. Could be a number of reasons. Is it tripping the breaker? Is the neutral wired incorrectly? We see that often, where you'll still see voltage there, but the neutral is going to cause the breaker to trip. You could have a bad board. You could have, you know, the little fuse on there popped. I mean, a dozen reasons. Okay. Do you recommend what to wipe inside down the tub to get rid of the bacteria? Should we buy new filters? New filters wouldn't hurt, Sharina. I would be comfortable with new filters. As far as wiping down the tub to kill bacteria, the problem is that you need to wipe inside all those pipes, and without doing that, there's no real point in it, unless it's, you know, like horrifying, yucky. So I don't know, you know, you do the whole purge. If you're gonna clean this and you really wanna get all that stuff out of there, do that purge. Let's see. Kim, I had so many issues trying to get my MasterSpa water looking good last year until I spoke personally with Jim from, I'm trying to hit the see more. I'm assuming that says awesome. I can't hit that. I can't, oh, there it is. Water care. He answered his personal cell phone on vacation. Now that is customer service. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if that's the situation, I've never needed to do that. I've never ever in, Beth, how long have we had hot tubs? 20 years now. I mean, so we've never done that, but I would. It's sort of like satisfying, like cleaning your ears or something. So, what else do we got? Okay, so where were we? Yeah, filter degreaser, clean them out. Shireen, new filters, run the purge, clean out everything, and that'll clean out the whole inside. And then after that, if you want to get like a vinegar and water mixture, that's sort of old school how to clean a hot tub, is a vinegar and water mix. We use the Windex?
Windex vinegar.
The Windex vinegar.
I love it.
Love it. It is fantastic product. It's not so vinegary that it's just terrible.
Right.
It's just really nice. And we've used that on photo shoots to clean up tubs that had a couple of miles on them, and it just really awesome. And then if you want to shine a couple of things up, I mean, eventually it's like a car. The things are gonna get dull. The 303 is obviously my favorite go-to on shining things up and restoring them to proper looks. All right, anytime. Okay, what else you got, Mary?
One of the other things that you always recommend, and I like it about the cover, you know, so covers have a life. Like Ben always says, and I've stolen it, they're like tires on your car. So they are going to need to be replaced. The covers are protecting your investment, and eventually they're going to get waterlogged, and they're going to need to be replaced. It's worth replacing them. And MasterSpas is the new covers. For those of you who don't have them, the new covers are made with like a sunbrella material, they're lighter. There is a 303. Talk about 303. There's a 303 outdoor fabric cleaner, which is great for them, but they are still going to get heavy eventually. One way to help prevent that, or to help, you know, extend the life of your cover, is to leave it out on a hot, dry day and let it dry out a little bit. So take your, flip.
Yeah, flip the covers inside.
Oh, the foam inside. Yeah. So you can, you know, the covers are zip. You can take out the foam, let it sit out in the dry heat to dry out a bit, and you can, like Ben said, flip like you flip a mattress.
Yep.
You can flip it and put the side that was closest to your water up to the top, and vice versa.
Sandy asked 303 was for the cover. 303 is for the cover. You could also use it on, like, take these out and clean them up and shine them up, and they'll be nice. You just want to make sure they're real dry and there's no residue on there.
So for the older covers, like we have on this swim spa, it's like the vinyl. So you want to get the vinyl protectant from 303.
Good point. There's two different kinds of the 303. One is the fabric that's for the new cover, like that, like Mary said, the sunbrella material, and the other one is like a vinyl protectant. It's more like, you know, your Armor All, although it's way better. Armor All, don't use Armor All. People associate it with that. Taryn. Hey Ben, do we have a video guide from Master on a yearly water purge? I don't think you need a yearly water purge. You don't have that because it's not really officially recommended. It shouldn't, happen too often that you need to do that. Certainly not annually. I've never done it, let alone done it once a year. So that, to my knowledge, does not exist in any way. And I can tell you that a lot of the video stuff that MasterSpas does have is stuff that we did, and we definitely didn't do that. Although I would sort of...
And the maintenance videos, they don't have that.
Like the disturbed part of me would like to take an old, just tub with, 150,000 miles on it and then run one of those to see what comes out of it. That would be sort of interesting. I'd like to see that. Let's see. Wayne, have just replaced my water and I'm getting brown stain on my 15D interior. How do I correct it? That's probably...
Some kind of metal.
It's probably metal. It's probably
Yeah.
iron in the water. Did you run a sequestering? I got to hit the see more button. I don't know why. It's just Mary pop right up here and hits that. She hits that see more button and it works. But I can't see your
It's
whole...
hard when it's on
There it is. How do I correct it? All new filters and chemicals seem balanced. So if everything seems balanced and it's just a tint and it looks red or brown, that's iron in there. So what happens is, let's say you refilled the water, and it can be city water too. You refill that water, and then as soon as you put the chlorine in there, it reacts with it and it will turn brown. I've seen tubs with brand new water that look dark like iced tea, and all it is just an exceptionally high amount of iron in there. Which I've seen that not at a customer's house, at my house, because our water is horrid. That's why we have it brought in with the truck. So,
but like Ben was saying, you can use a metal out,
Yep,
which
metal
is a
out,
sequestering agent.
Yep, for
and
sure.
you would, put the whole bottle in, and when you do that, it's going to remove the metals, so you are going to get, like a film almost on your
on the water line.
on the water line, and you just want to use a Mr. Clean Magic Erase and just gently wipe off that line, because what it's doing is just pushing those metals into the filter, but they don't all go
Right.
to the filter, so they're going to just collect there. But that's way what you want to do when you refill it, if you know that that's in your water.
The sequestering agent just bonds with the metals in the water, whether it's copper, whether it's iron, most common too, and then we'll go to the filter. So you have to clean the filters out for a day or two, and then it will absolutely leave a water line on the
Right.
interior. Just wipe it out, no problem. That'll come right out. I do use a magic erase. Just don't be gentle, because there is an abrasiveness to that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Patricia, if we can only keep the spiders and mosquitoes from jumping in the tub with us, yeah. Where do you live? I'm sort of curious. Louisiana? Yeah, they got bugs there.
Oh.
Florida? All right. We're in the woods here in the summer? Okay. Metal out. That's my question too. How much in a 15D, 1,800 gallons?
Bottle.
I think I use a half a bottle.
Do you?
I think I use a half a bottle.
Okay.
If it's real bad, use a little more. I go half a bottle. It's good for 2 fills. So yeah, I would use half a bottle on that. Okay. Let's see. Suggestions for pillow maintenance. Also cleaning inside of cover. Thanks for answering so many questions. No problem. So on the inside of the cover, there is a mildew.
Lysol?
It is Lysol. Mary, for the win. Lysol mildew remover. You want to use that for the inside of the cover, and that'll clean it up real nice. And then on the, let's see what else. Pillow maintenance, I'd probably use the 303 on that. I think I've used that before, and they come out beautifully.
What did you just did one.
Yeah, but I used a bunch of other stuff because we didn't have any 303
Okay.
left, and it took like a month to get
Okay.
them beautiful. So I like the 303.
One thing that does help the cover, like your pillows and your valves and things, is to just, we know it's a pain. We hate doing it too. But to just leave that cover open for a good 15 to 20 minutes after you oxidize or put chlorine in.
For sure. We just got our Trainer 19 on Monday. Where are the maintenance videos? On the
YouTube.
On the YouTube channel. There's more videos than you've ever wanted to see. Corpus Christi, Texas. Oh yeah, Patricia. Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
you
lots of bugs
You got bugs there. You get bugs there all the time. All right. We only get bugs badly in the summertime. In the wintertime, they freeze and die, which is great.
Any other last minute questions about summer maintenance of your swim spa?
So in our owners group, you have you have like MasterSpas documented, method in which they tell you to take care of water. You have the Angie method, you have the Ben method, you have all this crap out there. And the thing to remember is that every bit of water is different. You need to pick a path and stick to it. Okay, whatever works for you. I know what works for me. It's been working for 20 years. I'm not about to change. Water's always good, except for this week I forgot. And best ways to keep it cool. Sandy, we got to talk about.
Yeah.
keeping it
Oh,
cool.
yes.
Good.
I
Thank
knew
you, Sandy.
we were forgetting
I knew
something.
we were. Yes,
Thank
I knew we
you.
were. Sandy, good one. So you just need to pick a path and stick with it. So for me, like I prefer to use small, actually very small amounts of chlorine, but I always maintain that like 2 parts per million. So you're never smelling it. It's not excessive. Okay. So that's what I do. But just pick a path and go with it. And don't think that because something works for you, it will necessarily work the same way for someone else in a different geographical location. If you are that person and you think that you have all the answers for everyone in the country, and you really don't, you are looking through tunnel vision, okay? No one does. We don't. All right? So just keep that in mind. Sandy, best ways to keep it cool. Yes, Myrtle Beach is warm. So at nighttime, the old, roll up the towel and crack the cover and let it bleed off that heat. That is the one way to do it. The other way to do it is...
So I want to just ask about that, because I feel like sometimes I'm not sure. So you close the cover completely.
And just leave it cracked so that the
Leave
towel,
the towel, okay.
so the heat can bleed off.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it does surprisingly works fairly well. But at nighttime, you got to do that. So then the other one that we've had great success with some of our athletes, especially like Ben Hoffman in particular in Tucson, is the sail shades.
Yeah.
And he's got like the triangles. You go someplace neat and it's got different color sail shades and it looks really nice. And so he did that over his, and it really does keep that temperature down. That's a big one.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, and Chris Hoops, we did the dual temp Facebook Live from his house. He's got last year he's got the vault, and like the ultimate vaulted install, just absolutely gorgeous. He put his on D-rings and they're removable, which is really awesome.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I just love that. And I'm sure they probably all are because you have to fix them up there with something, but I never thought about it that way. But he did it really on purpose. Everything is adjustable. Just everything that guy touched was freaking to the...
Yeah.
Man, if you want to read on how to do something, look up his posts or that Facebook Live. That guy's dialed. Okay? So, all right. Before heat pumps are released. So, Cindy, there's a lot of questions still with the heat pumps. There's a lot of things, a lot of moving parts, a lot of things up in the air with the heat pumps. They're not perfect, and they're new as far as, overall widely spread use in the U.S. The dealers that we have that have the most experience with them are absolutely our UK dealer. When we have questions on heat pumps, we call him, not the other way around. Okay? And I'll name names. Damien is his name. The dude is probably our most savvy tech in all of our, worldwide network. And I don't mean to disrespect anyone. If you're a great one, I know there's others, but he is really sharp guy. All right. But the heat pumps are coming. And,
we just don't know when yet.
We don't know when yet, and there are some things that aren't perfect about, climates and what's required. Is a circ pump required? It's not. The upcoming circ pumps don't run 24 hours a day, so it obviously can't be. So there's still some questions in there. All those details are being worked on now. Okay. Did I miss how to keep the temperature from creeping in the summer? Georgia is hot. Teresa, yeah, you want to roll up a towel, and when you close that cover, leave it cracked so you got like a little 3-inch crack in there, and let the heat bleed out at nighttime, or the sail shades. Sandy, I am in Florida. We vent ours with pool noodles under the cover at night.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely. Awesome.
Same.
Yeah, Sarah, thank you.
Same idea. Cool.
Yep. Can you recap what to do with your swim spot if you're going on vacation? I'm going to let you scroll back to the beginning of this and watch that rather than bore everyone to death with it.
Just because we're at time too.
Sandy, I use neoprene dumbbells. Oh, so not
Perfect.
on cement. Yes, I'm aware of UK. Yep, Sandy. Yeah, the UK dealer is by far the most advanced when it comes to heat pumps. No question about that. All right, so I think that's it.
Yeah. So we will be back normal
2
in
weeks.
2 weeks on June 28th, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk about some fun things that day. maybe if the weather holds out, we'll be outside at Ben's. So we will see you then. Everyone have a wonderful night. If you have any questions that you don't think were answered, just post them here and we'll take a look later on.
We'll be back on there. Thanks, guys.
Thank
Always,
you, guys. Have a great night.
Sarah, thank you. Appreciate that. Guys, you're the best. We will see you in 2
2 weeks.
Be good.